Okay, right. I think we can start now. So, welcome to the PowerINSPECT 2014 What's New webinar. So, my name is Stefano Damiano. I know that you were expecting Darren to present this session, but unfortunately is sick, so I took over him for this session. Before start talking about the new features in PowerINSPECT 2014, just a brief introduction about me. So I started working at Delcam 4 years ago. I'm a PowerINSPECT application engineer, and if you had any problem about PowerINSPECT manual, OMV or CNC, or if you are struggling with report customization, so if you want to just change the parameter settings in your report, or maybe you want to change the logos picture, or you want to create a new MTD models, or maybe you want in our probe database, you want us to introduce a new probe heads, I'm the man for all these things. So let's start talking about now PowerINSPECT 2014 now. So starting with a brand new icon. So new shiny icon set now in PowerINSPECT, as you can see, more intuitive and clear than the previous ones. For example, now the measured items are orange, constructed items are blue, and the CAD items gray. So we'll try to put more logic and make them more intuitive and friendly as well. Another thing is the user-defined toolbar. This is one of my favorite new features, actually. So the customer can now create his own toolbar containing all the commands he needs, so the user doesn't have any more jump around, go through all the menus. All he needs can be selected and inserted in a single toolbar. Furthermore, the user can import and export the toolbar so that he can use it for another session, proving PowerINSPECT version installed on the PC supports it. Selecting CAD models. The new document wizard has been improved. We can now open, delete, or apply transformation, as you can see here from the slide, on multiple CAD directly from the dialog instead of going to the CAD tab and then select which CAD we want to apply transformation to and then do all the things afterwards. So now when we open a document through the wizard, we can apply to our CAD, the select CAD transformation like rotation, translation, mirroring, everything we need straight away when we import or when we load a new document. Product license. The type of license is now displayed either on the title bar, as you can see here, the title bar, or in the About dialog, as you can see here. We have 4 types of license: academic, demonstration, full, and time limited license. In the About dialog, we can also see how many days remaining we have. You see the arrow. With this new feature, we provide more information to the user, and it's also helpful for us to see straight away what kind of license we are dealing with when on site. So now it's time for demonstration number 1. So in this demonstration I'm going to show you the new icons, obviously, user-defined toolbars, and we will have a look at the product license. So let's jump in PowerINSPECT. Here we go. So let's start with have a look at the new GUI, very fresh and new, so the new icons all around, but you will have time to play with it and to discover how nice the new icons are. So the second thing that I want to show you is how to define a customizable toolbar. So to create a user-defined toolbar, just right-click anywhere here, and then go to Custom, Customize, and the custom toolbars just comes up. So the first thing to do is because we need to define, you see the custom toolbars flyout is empty, so we need to define our toolbars. So we need to go to new, type a name, for example my toolbar, click OK. So the drop down list is now populated. So now we are ready to insert any feature we want to work with. So for example, if I want to anything about point cloud, so for example project, add-on project, or highlight backfacing points, obviously we can remove one of the items that we don't want anymore, or we can also add the separator so that we can set different sets of features. So for example, in the other set I want, for example, put anything like, well, cut view states like GD&T stuff like parallelism, true position, create a separator, and do something about inspection. So we can, it's fully customizable, and also you can swap the features or moving up and then down. So fully customizable, really easy to use to create. Other things, we can obviously delete one of the toolbars we create, rename it, import and export. Because, for example, let's suppose that I work with a couple of commands, so I need just 3 or 4 buttons from my session for my inspection, and I change laptop or I open session using another laptop, but I want to keep my toolbar with me. I want to keep it with me because I work just with those buttons. So we can easily import and export the toolbar, customize as we want. So really easy. So once we create our toolbar, just click OK, and our toolbar is here. So we can move it anywhere here on the toolbar, or just release it here in space, or dock it here again back. So we will leave it here for the moment. Right, so, and finally we will have a look at the license. So you can see here the demonstration license at the top of the toolbar, and then in the help click on about. So we have demonstration license now, and my days remaining are 223. This is quite helpful when you're on site and instead going through Path Wizard and spend a bit of time to find out what kind of license we are dealing with. Now it's just there. Have a look, just a quick look. That's it. Okay, so we can go back now to our presentation and talking about probed ellipse. So now we have a new item which has been added to the features toolbar, and to measure this item you must probe a minimum of 4 points distributed around its circumference. Another way to define a measured ellipse is from point sources. So if we open or we create an inspection group and we just pick points around the ellipse circumference, we can then import this point from inspection group to define a measured ellipse. So a new feature in PowerINSPECT. Again, about ellipse, we can define an ellipse also as intersection between 2 items, such as in this case a plane and a cylinder, or a plane and a cone. Another constructed items in this case is a circle. So circle as constructed items between 2 torus, so torus intersection. This is quite helpful when we are dealing with pipeworks and ducting. I will show you anyway shortly how to create these construct features. And another thing is a probe change wizard in 2014. Probe change wizard is not a brand new feature. So for those who know PowerINSPECT since version 2012, you should remember that we introduced these features since 2012, but then because we introduced the probe and parameters items, we just decide to remove it from our release because there was a bit of overlap between the two items, but now we redesign the probe change widget to deal with the probe and parameters items as well. So welcome back, probe change widget. And labeling, this is another nice feature in my opinion. So before in PowerINSPECT, when we work with PowerINSPECT, if we have a measured part like this, so we have either inspection points or geometric items, and the user wants to show different parameters for different type of features, we couldn't so far. But now, thanks to the new setting dialog, we can visualize different parameters for every type of measured items. So now we have 3 tabs: general, geometric, and inspection, depending on what kind of group we want to set the different parameters for. We can also import and export the setting between different sessions, because I might need my setting, my label setting in a different PowerINSPECT session, maybe in another PC. So I can obviously import and export it. As simple as that. Part compensation tab. So previously in PowerINSPECT was only able to apply correction for thermal expansion and shrinkage for the entire document. Now we can apply the thermal compensation for individual measures. I have a very nice video to show you, so let's play it. So if we go now to measures, parameters, we have the part compensation tab, so we can enable the set temperature automatically when taking the first measurement, set the material for the thermal expansion coefficient, set to aluminium, click OK, and then we already have a set of items to measure, so play all, and as soon as we play all, we click on play all, PowerINSPECT will detect the temperature of the environment, and that will be shown at the bottom of the toolbar. Another new feature in PowerINSPECT 2014 is the from point cloud alignment. So when we have to create an alignment from point cloud, we use to select the whole cloud. But what if the CAD is incomplete, or a part of the model is bent or not good? Well, this before represent an issue, but now in the point cloud dialog we have the ability to select the reference point cloud, making our alignment more accurate. So in this particular example, so we have the point cloud of the whole part that we just laser scan, but the actual CAD available is just part of it. So if we want to align the point cloud to just this part, and so I want to choose this bit to be the reference for this one, I can easily select, drag a box, and when I'm creating an alignment from point cloud, select as reference point cloud the point cloud selected by dragging the box. Just this to make our alignment even more accurate. So it's time to demonstration number 2. In this demonstration we will see how to create a probe ellipse, a torus-torus intersection, so a circle, and labeling. So let's jump in PowerINSPECT again and then start with probe ellipse. So we have a nice ellipse here. So what we can do is we can open the geometry group, and from the flyout menu we have this new feature, probed ellipse. So click on it, click OK. So our SPET is in measuring mode. Okay, I'll get the arm, and I will probe at least 4 points. I will get a bit more just to get a better result. And here is my ellipse. So with the ellipse and all So this is just to probe the ellipse. Again, at the moment we don't have the probe path for the ellipse, so the only way to get the ellipse is just, as I told you, from the flyout menu on the left hand side, select ellipse and then probe it. But we are already working on it. There is already a task open for it, so we will get soon the probe path for the ellipse, and also we will be able to select the ellipse from the wireframe checker. It's not possible at the moment again, but it will come soon. So now I want to show you the torus intersection. So the circle has torus intersection. So in this session we have two torus. So I want the circle here, so that represents the intersection. So I need to go here and then select torus cone, no, this is not this case, or circle as a torus. So select this, use nominal, and then click OK. I don't want to measure now, so I just delay measure here. But I have already the circle here, so if we go to Edit Geometrics and we move the cursor over, we can see the torus 1, torus 2, and the circle. So a new constructed feature, and again it's very helpful when you are working with PyWorks and ducting especially. And finally, the other feature that I want to show, it's labeling. So this is the typical example scenario where labeling is very helpful. So I have different inspection groups and I have geometric items measured. So if I zoom in here a bit so that when I switch on the labels we can clearly see them, I will just increase the size of them. So what if, for example, I want for geometric item specify different parameters? So now we can decide whether, okay, set global settings from here or specific setting for our geometric items. So let's enable the window, so override general settings, and decide, for example, to add high tolerance or low tolerance for our geometric items. Click OK. So you can see now high tolerance, low tolerance. Let's make it a bit bigger again. And now, for example, for my inspection items, I want, for example, information about XYZ. So this new feature gives us the possibility, the ability to show and the parameters that really are relevant for us, and also the labeling, the new features in labeling is very good when we want to take a screenshot and put it in the report and show exactly the parameters that really matters for us. So I really like this feature, honestly. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation and move on talking about compound items. So compound items, it's a new class of probed items. In fact, before compound items, every time we need to measure a 2D feature, we have also associate this item to a reference plane. Although in some scenarios few reference planes are enough, there are situations where every single 2D item needs a dedicated plane. In this case, the user have to specify the plane in the sequence tree. This procedure can lead to have a massive list of reference plane, which they are of secondary importance, obviously. Well, with the new compound items, the plane won't be displayed in the sequence tree, but it's included during the measuring procedure, making the reading of the inspection sequence clear and concise. Anyway, I will show you briefly in the demonstration number 3 how to use compound items. So moving on, new feature probing dialog. To provide more real-time information as you probe the part, the feature probing dialog has been redesigned and extended. In addition to the standard information, such as location, size, and profile of the feature, it can now be configured to display nominals, deviation, and errors. By clicking the new icon here, you can see the nice eye here. So enabling you to immediately spot problems with the part or with your measurements. Moving on, intermediate probe path. So the intermediate probe path has been enhanced. So before, if we want to define intermediate probe paths, the only way it was just manually double click somewhere and define the point somewhere in space. But what if, for example, I want to define the intermediate point in a specific XYZ position? Well, we couldn't. We could just guess, or maybe just use display in grid mode and just try to more or less get the point. Now we can define first and the last point, or in any way every point in here with the intermediate probe path, just typing explicitly the X, Y, Z values. Another thing that you can get is when you pick anywhere in space to define an intermediate probe path, is the position, the actual position of the point in X, Y, Z. Calibration quality. So the calibration procedure has been improved now, so it's become now more informative. Because how can we get where, for example, we have our calibration procedure has been succeed or maybe is poor. So how can we get information about the calibration? Well, before we could just guess, but now with PowerINSPECT 2014, and with this video I'll show you how, we have all the information we need. So let's click on play. So we have a probe, we have a set of angles here. So the green ticks represent the well-calibrated angles, and the red ticks the poorly calibrated, and with the calibration date and all the data associated to the calibration. So clicking on calibration setting, we can use format tolerance setting and disabling or enabling, and that will be our reference to see whether our calibration is passed, as you can see here, or failed, together with other information that are listed here. We can also export this information as a document for future reference. Furthermore, in the probe tool we can see whether the probe tool is calibrated and also whether the probe head is calibrated or not. So let's now calibrate that particular angle. Let's click on calibrate and click on next. Our calibration procedure starts. So now we can see that as soon as the calibration procedure finishes, we can immediately see whether the calibration is passed, so it's good or not. Dynamic points. Okay, previously the dynamic points editor only allowed the import of name, position, vector and tolerance data, meaning that it was not possible to distinguish manually specified edge points from surface points. In PowerINSPECT 2014, the file format of dynamic points has been extended to record point types, so it's now possible to import edge points as well as surface points. In addition, the dynamic point toolbar contains a new export points button, which is this one, that enables you to save points created in PowerINSPECT to file. You can then import the points into other inspection documents or use them in other applications. Again, importing edge points. So before in PowerINSPECT we could just create surface inspection group from point, create geometric points from point. So now we can also create edge inspection group from point, CNC if you use PowerINSPECT CNC, or just edge inspection group if you are in manual. The only thing that you have to bear in mind, that's very important, that the file where the points are stored must be ASCII format. Otherwise, PowerINSPECT at the moment can't handle it. Now, just a short overview about the new settings in the Tools option dialog. So, because we introduce other features, new features, we dedicate more option to try to manage them. So, just a quick overview. So we can hide planes for compound items, so we can just hide the planes in the sequence tree or just show them. And then compound probing options, so we have now dedicated page about the compound items, as you can see here. Full screen measurement, again, if we want to see when we are measuring in the dialog all the nominals, deviation, error value, by default we can just untick from options, from the option window. Okay, and now another new feature is a scanning point cloud. So in this video you can see I'm scanning like a demo part, Faro demo part. So you can see that how PowerINSPECT changed the view as soon as I rotate, the laser scanner. So this new feature, it's very, very comfortable and very, very user-friendly, because before PowerINSPECT, what we have to do is just, scan a side and then go back to PowerINSPECT, change the view, get the arm again, and keep on scanning, and then again stop scanning, change the view, and so on. So very comfortable for the user, very user-friendly, and make the user experience much, much easier and much, much comfortable anyway. Demonstration number 3. So we're going to show compound items, import, export, edge points, and new probing dialog. Okay, so let's jump back in PowerINSPECT. And let's start with compound items. Okay, so let's change session, and I create a new compound items. Okay, perfect. So we can create compound items in 2 ways, or from the flyout menu. So we create new geometric group, for example. So we have a new flyout menu here with all the features that we can be compound 2D features, so like ellipse, circles, lines, polygons, rectangle, and slots. So you can see how the icons are slightly different from the classic ones. Or we can also going to wireframe checker, right click, set wireframe, select for example the circle, and here from the Geometry Explorer tab, instead of probed circle, select compound circle. So let's click OK, and my compound item is in the sequence tree. So now let's measure it. So when we measure the compound items, you can see now that here it's a bit different. So we have circle tree and then plane. So what this means is, the item that you want to measure is a circle, but as it's a 2D items, you need a reference plane. So let's now measure the reference plane for the circle tree. So, and this is what I'm going to do now. Okay, take 3 points, and then measure the relative circle. So we get 3 points as well. And here we go. So we have the circle tree with the relative reference plane, but as you can see in the sequence tree, it's just displayed the circle tree. But if you extend the tree, you can see here the relative point, the relative plane points, and the relative circle points. So with one item, you have the information of 2 items basically. saving also the space in the sequence tree, especially when you want reference plane for many items. So now it's time to show you how to import and export edge points. So go to this session. So for example, let's zoom in here along this trim edge. So I want to create, for example, now edge points and then export it and then re-import it as a point to create an edge inspection group. So first of all, we need to create edge points. So how to create it? Let's go to Dynamic Point Editor. Let's zoom in a bit more. Get point very close to the edge. Okay, drag a box so that I select them, and then turn them to edge points. And once they are edge points, we can export points as edge. So click on it. We can just name it as edge points and save it. So now that I export my edge points, I want to import these points to create my edge inspection group. So I go to Tools, Import Points, and here is my new option, Create Edge Inspection Group. Click on it, browse, and here is my file that again must be ASCII. So click Open, Preview to see how many points more or less. If it's okay, okay, next, next, and PowerINSPECT create the inspection group with 11 edge inspection point. So nice and easy. Obviously here, because we are in manual, we don't have the Pro path, but if we had a PowerINSPECT CNC session open, you will see the Pro path here instead. So and finally, the last thing I want to show you the new probing dialog. So for example, let's remeasure this or just play with resume. So this is the classic dialog. Here is the new icon. So if we click on it and then configure, for example, I want to see nominals, deviation, errors, click OK. And here we have the values of the nominal, deviation, and the error. So you can see how we purposely define these values with different colors, and also introduce also tooltip, very comfortable tooltip. So if you just get confused which is which, just move the mouse over the value and you can see what these values mean. So more information, and so that the user can spot immediately if something is wrong during the measurement. Okay, let's say yes. So demonstration 3 is over. Have you got any questions? Oops, I lost you. Sorry. Okay. No questions? Everybody happy? Oh, okay. That's fantastic. Okay. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the new feature as much as I did. And if you want, I don't know, more details or more information about the new feature in PowerINSPECT 2014, please feel free to ask or to drop me an email. Oops, we have a question. If I can see how to. Okay. Where is the question toolbar? View. Okay. We have update to 2014. Shouldn't we remove 2014? It's up to you. I mean, 2014 is obviously is a better release, so I would say yes, obviously yes. The second question is, will this be available for later viewing? Yeah, this webinar will be available in the Delcam Partner Support website. I'm going to upload this webinar there, so it will be available. So if you want, then you can download it and just use it. This is recorded. Will it be able to replay? Yes, Fred, of course, will be available. Don't worry. Any other questions? No? Okay. Okay, guys, thank you very much for your attention again. And yes, I will make this video available soon in our Delcam Partner Support website. I will maybe drop you an email to let you know where and how to download it, so that you will have it available, so for reference. And I hope you enjoyed everything, and I wish you very, very nice day. Thank you very much, and see you around.